Do you have a new training method reprint? You're going to be really, really excited. You're going to be really, really excited to play new training method in retro. It's going to be so sick, dude. Rochester Retro is going to be so sick when you get to play new training method. You see that each time someone asks a question about reprints? Probably. Why would they reprint cards in the Critical Role set? That doesn't make any sense. What up, Dawson? Hello, Nikolai. I should put on so I can see multi-stream. Bam, bam. Thoughts on the new SR? I was gonna give it a little bit of room to breathe. Hyperbomb is cool. We like Hyperbomb. Hyperbomb is dope. You're expecting backup support out of me today? Heinz, you want me to back it up? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're thinking? Tam that on camera. Who is that? Navira! 5 gifted, man. That's so oh, gift 1. One gift to the good people. Thank you so much, man. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the gift, buddy. That's so kind of you. You didn't have to do that. You have to tell chat what we're doing tonight. We're going to go watch some Attack on Titan thing. I don't actually know what it is specifically that we're watching, but it is gonna be cool and awesome. I don't quite know what's going on, but it's gonna be dope for sure. Wow. Let me bring this right here to the middle. All right. Attack on Titan live action movie. I don't think so. I mean, Rebby, I think it's like the season 4 movie or some shit like that. I think that's what we're doing. Season 3.5. Excited for these reveals? Me too. It's the end of Attack on Titan in theaters with a different ending. Yo, what up, Snuggy? How's it going, buddy? That SR was neat. Hoping for a Rage Counter SR. Really cool. It has water. No spoilies sketch. No spoilies sketch. Who knows? It could happen. Who knows? Who knows if there's a super sick sick one. I need points I'm owed? What does this mean? Did you put on a bet or something? Oh, we redeemed a coin flip. Redeemed a coin flip. Yo, Tam. I'm in the sunk cost fallacy. Damn, I forgot to leave your Discord, so I got pinged. Gotcha, bitch. Don't tease me with a rage counter SR. Who knows? Who knows? You know what? Let's start a prediction. Heads or tails, everybody? Heads or tails? I'll give you 5 minutes. Let's get it figured out. We'll take and do this, and then do this, and then bring this back over here. Middle screen, bottom right. Heads or tails, chat. I will say the card that Brody reveals makes Yasha feel a bit more real. The 3-diff? Yeah, I think the 3-diff is very good. I think the 3-diff is very sick. What's the gambit, or is it simply heads or tails? It's simply heads or tails. I'm gonna after this, I'm going to flip a coin, and if it's heads, the heads wins. If it's tails, the tails wins. It's just that simple. What up, Tim? When am I hitting the road? We are flying out Wednesday morning. We will be in Florida Wednesday night. It's gonna be dope. Yashi, you are also sick. Yeah, my plan is the Monday that I get back from Worlds. I will be talking about all of the Critical Role cards, every single one of them. I'm assuming they'll all be out by then. I believe we'll have people cracking boxes. So I don't want to talk about other creators' cards here, if that makes sense. You guys can talk about them in the chat, but I'm just not going to talk about them. Got my deck locked in for LCQ. Yeah, it's all but locked in. There's still some almost some edging that I can do. And as much as I love edging, some smoothing over of edges that I will be doing for the event. More importantly, I think Rebby has locked in her deck. Because she was just absolutely beating my ass last night. It was crazy. It was crazy, dude. She was absolutely messing me up. Edge shot LCQTs. You think I'd mess up like that? Yeah, she was talking about it to us. It was crazy. It was crazy. I think like, so I had together Pony and Godzilla, and she just like she definitely went positive in matches, in games last night, at least. Yeah, it was tough. I finally solidified my Pony list for the LCQ. Hell yeah. Love that. Love that. Yeah, Gonna Girl, she got off of Zilla. We were on it, and then it was just like wasn't that fun. And so we popped off and are now on something else that excuse me. That I think is very good. I think it's very, very good. Edging that I can do. And as much as I love edging, some smooth playing the LCQ, be prefer endless bowling mirrors? Yeah, probably. Are we both playing the Secret Spice, or am I still on Pony? I think I'm still on Pony. If there was a way for me to like practice with the Secret Spice and like feel comfortable with it beforehand, I might do like the hot swap. I'd also have to borrow literally every single card because, you know, Rebby has all the copies of the other one. But like maybe. Because it did feel good, but I'm probably just going to stick on Pony. I think the only way that it happens is like I go to my team and I'm like, yo, somebody get me this card for card. Jace, would you just, I need the list, but I got you. I'll send you the list, buddy. If you just bring it to the event, I could just like make the decision the Thursday night before, and it's like and just pull it. Because I do believe in this deck. I think this deck is very good. Pony survives post rotation, right? Yeah. I'm driving. I'm bringing my entire collection. My boy. Am I still leaning Air Pony? No, it has to be Earth Pony. I think Earth Pony is the correct way to go. It's essentially Marvin's list, but I have changed roughly 10 cards now. 10 cards have been like 10 cards roughly. I think that it just like it has answers in this current meta that is very good. I do think so here's the crux of it, right? I think that Air Pony might actually end up being better in the mirror match, but I think that Earth Pony is better into the rest of the field. So it depends on like if Pony is going to be so highly represented, it's going to be so many freaking cards that like blah 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 blah. Yeah, I think it's the correct answer to probably play Earth because I care more about the field than I do about the mirror. But in the mirror, I think that the air list might be better because it does get things like Airy Smile, which I think is really debilitating for that list. I don't know. It is a tough spot to be in. It's a tough spot to be in. I was not enjoying the feel of air, so I want Earth because of the meta matchups. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm playing Dark Deku. Hell yeah, Silver Knight. That's dope. I think the character's great too. I'm running Haymaker, just not many of them. But super happy people on my list. Yeah, I like increase the attack count of Marvin's list by 1. I should flip this coin. Flip a coin. Whoop. Pew. It's Tails. Congratulations, Tails gamers. Simply play the best deck in the room. Yeah, it is what it is, right? I do think that this spice is good. The spice that me and Rebby worked on last night. I just like I gotta figure it out just a little bit. It feels like my camera's fuzzy. Is anybody else feeling like I'm a little out of focus? Yeah, I feel my cat touched my camera and made me mad. Curious what symbol I like best for Dark Deku. I think it has to be the good symbol if you're doing the one punch stuff. I do think the air symbol is very good though. I'm getting my passport photos taken so I can do a Justin Burns impression later this year, but won't be able to chat except for previews. Hell yeah, I love that. Might be something like white balance. Yeah, she might have touched my camera. Looks fine. Okay. Just nervous. Just nervous about it. Have him on Void. I think Void's fine. I think the Void flash stuff is very good. It just like you're just forced to play on the backside. The front side like is super irrelevant. And like all the backside does on defense is just like flash the one thing, redraw a card, and then looking at like on the front side just like doesn't do anything. And that's my issue with playing it on the Void symbol, is I feel like the front side is like very good. Yeah, I'm excited to try some Australian food. It's gonna be good. Am I going to go to Orlando and win Worlds? I'm certainly gonna try. I do need to qualify first, but we're gonna give it our best. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get second place at Worlds, and then Rebby is going to win. That is what I meant to say. Yo, Casey Johnson with a double gift. Thanks, man. Hell yeah, dude. That's so kind. Gonna be undefeated at Worlds. Nobody can stop me. You're not even gonna play pickup games, buddy? Also think if you're planning on playing Deku, it should be on good IMO. I also think so. I think the One Punch Deku is just very good. Wow, another lost coin flip. Sorry, Bucko. Yeah, I am excited for this event. I don't know if I'm gonna be on Pony or the Sauce, but you got the stuff that's like winning. It's better than winning the coin flip. You get free pixels. Who doesn't love free pixels? It was at Malamola. They were the 18 months. Holy cow. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. For everybody who is wondering why I'm stalling, the plan is today that I want to talk to Sam on stream about the event this past weekend, about the Sam Tam Creator Clash, and how we thought that went, and just like air out some grievances and figure out how to make it better for next time. And I want to do that in a very public space, as well as after that, I want to do the live previews. So for everybody at home, thank you all for hanging out. I do appreciate it. We got 50-ish people hanging out here. It's very, very cool, very dope. You can do one punch stuff on air though. Easier to proc with basic. That's true, BP. It is true. I do think that like it's easier to protect the combo on good though, and I think that's what matters. Is like doing it. Malamon with a gift. Malamon, are you on the mat? There you are. You're right there. Just making sure. Brisbane, thank you for the gift. Holy cow, the train. Thank you guys. Hold up. Is Brisbane on the mat? I don't remember writing Brisbane's name. I gotta look. No, I'm not seeing it. I gotta write it down. I need you and I need the Servini. Servini gifted a sub like 2 streams ago, and I forgot to write it down. I'll write it down right now. Wow. How does good protect the combo? It just has more combo protection pieces. Things like evil versus good and whatever. Whoop. Brandon, thank you for the gift, man. Thanks for the gift, dude. Put it on the mat. Quimmus says, yeah, you could do stuff like that. Like there's a lot of cancel to cancel, and the Good Siebel even has the if you try to cancel my cancel your cancel, which is also just very good. Bean, Brandon, 1988. I'll put you on the mat as well. Thanks, man. I do think the air symbol is very cool, though. I think the air symbol just having access to Chimera is very strong. It's just very, very strong. So like it is tough. You did put me on the map for last month. I did misplay. I got you on the map. I do like Spirit Charge Kick into PT. Phantom Thread to get the extra proc. It's fun stuff. Yeah. It is cool. It is cool. Learning League of Games. Hello. How are you? How many gifted to put undefeated at locals on the mat? Got to get that team name up there. I guess make a Twitch or YouTube account and just gift a singular sub and it would get up there. Show us the air cards while you wait for Sam. You know what? I think what I'll do instead is I'm gonna show the void cards. Give me 1 second, chat. I'm gonna show all the void cards while I wait for Sam. That's what I'm gonna do. Thoughts on that? David's lost enough this weekend. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but are you looking to try and get the name changed or what up? Fly Eagles Fly 27? Is that the new plan? I heard it was like 40-3 before halftime. I thought you were revealing live. I am. David has Void, and he was asking me to reveal them now as opposed to after my conversation with Sam that I'm going to have. Void over life. You get to preview a card that is, let's say this. Let's just say this. You get to preview a card that I'm jealous you get to preview. We'll just say that. We'll just say that. I'm changing his name in the Discord now. Don't tell Chief. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Mahomes is still my GOAT. Fair enough. Tam, there better be a punch in Void. Gonna have to watch David's video, not mine, dude. Gonna have to watch David's. Couldn't tell you about Void punches. Who knows? Bill Evans, thanks for the smile, buddy. Thanks for coming and watching over on the YouTube there. Do appreciate it. It was 24-0 by halftime. That was nuts. Thankfully, the halftime show was a significant teardown of the event to be the highlight. Have I seen the SR that was just revealed? I did see the SR. The SR is pretty good. I think the SR is going to be very, 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 very solid. They definitely should not have printed said card, IMO. We're going to have to figure it out. But, everybody, thank you for the level 2 hype stream. I do greatly, greatly appreciate it. That's so kind of you. We're starting to call. Ouch. What up?
Hey, yo, did you want me to do video or not?
If you want to.
I don't care either way. It's your stream, your visual.
I'm down just to do I guess I can't do that.
Yeah, no, voice is fine.
Okay. If I just do this, what happens? And then maybe...
Did I miss the previews? I thought the previews were...
Doing them after.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm so far behind on Critical Role previews. I'm not going to lie. I've always been a let me see the whole set kind of guy, you know? Because I cannot stand the knee-jerk reaction to, this character's garbage. And then you see, like, they're ultra rare, and it's like, this character's hella playable.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Granted, I don't think they've done that since like set. Oh no, Jetburn characters were kind of like that.
A little bit.
If Mount Lady draws like 3 of her ultra rare, you just get rolled.
Fun fact: those were all commons and uncommons, but they were certainly.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like Titan Cliff
Mount
and
Lady doesn't have an ultra.
no, she doesn't. Mount Lady 3 doesn't have, or Mount Lady 2 doesn't have an ultra.
What?
Yeah,
That's great. Oh, Mount Lady.
2
There's 3
from
Mount
Jetburn.
Ladies?
Yeah, there's a third one. One came in Girl Power. It was the reveal cards from your hand character.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of reveal 1 momentum. You get.
You're thinking Mount
get
Lady. You're
power.
thinking Mount Lady 3.
Yeah, Mount Lady 3. Well, that's girl power,
That's Girl
not
Power.
Jetburn. You right. Anyways,
Yeah.
the point being, like, that's like it seems like almost like a My Hero character design trait.
Yeah. Anyway, buddy. So I wanted to get you on because I wanted to talk post event from this past weekend about the positive, the negatives, the roses and thorns of the Sam Tam creator clash and just some of our thoughts. And I wanted to put them in public because there was a bit of a how do I put this? I don't want to mix
Drama?
my words. Yeah, there's drama surrounding the event. There's some drama surrounding the event. And so starting out nice and easy, first and foremost, congratulations, man. You won the contest. No amount of drama is going to take that away from you. And I don't want this to turn into a whining fest from me to you. So before anything, congrats, man. You won. You earned it fair and square. Simple as that. How do you feel about the event as a whole?
As a whole, I feel very positive. The majority of the feedback was positive. I think a lot of the feedback, like immediately, was, I would say, 100% positive, and it was only, slowly as things trickled out and more information came to me. So
yeah,
of
course you'd say that.
I think
bitch, you won. Of course. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Hey, I'll say it's genuinely tough for me to be like a good winner, like a gracious winner. That's something I didn't understand until I was like a full-fledged adult, and it feels like childish and stupid to like look back on. But like, the being a good sport is twofold, and it can be really difficult to toe that line between celebrating and being a bad sport, right?
Yeah.
And that's been a debate. That's been a debate like on pro sports. It's been a debate in esports. That's something, people love a pop off, but pop offs are kind of disrespectful, right? So there's a fine line to toe with that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So getting personal, like I feel like I am always on the edge of being a bad sport whenever I lose, right? But only whenever there's like any amount of real stakes on the line, which brings me to like my 100%. The biggest thing that people just like need to get in their heads is there was nothing on the line but pride for this event, and so it is. There's no reason for anybody to be actually upset about what happened inside or outside of the game. Like there just isn't.
Right.
There's a couple of things that were said inside like of the matches. 2 things in specific that I'm not going to bring up or repeat like exactly, but I will say just like weren't called for inside of the event proper.
Yeah.
If but just like don't condone that kind of language or talking or any of that. Like that's outside of the scope of acceptable when it comes to, I don't know, just like anything. And so there's that. Yeah, go ahead.
Really quick, I will say I'm not a zero tolerance guy because in my opinion, zero tolerance policies means there's no second chances. And I'm not a fan of saying that people can't have a second chance. So like the zero tolerance element, I personally am not 100% vibing with. But in the sense of like zero tolerance and like no, you cannot do this under any circumstance, like you have to reform, I get that.
Yeah.
So like I am a pro second chance kind of person. not so much a baseball three strikes guy. Third chances are a tough ask, but um, I will say for me, there's only two things I've heard of that fall into like the same category. So I think we're on the same page, at least as far as the two things go.
Agreed.
Um, and I will say that not only, obviously I don't condone either of the things that were said, but there might be a level of familiarity that I had with some of your players,
Yeah.
right? And they're not, so you and I experienced it being on stream,
Mm-hmm.
used to it,
Yeah.
and I can give a second chance, right? I can forgive people who might not be experienced in that place and might have thought that we have a level of familiarity that all the people in chat don't know about, right? All
Sure.
the people in chat might think that, that we're like cool enough to talk that way or something, right? And
Yeah.
we're not, or they might not know and they have a zero tolerance for it. So, um, but on the subject of my own teammate, I was really disappointed because, uh, and again, I don't want to like repeat everything, but I do want to point people out specifically, at least on my side, because I'm responsible for it.
Yeah.
I did pick my rookie Luis, and he did, I want to say, make a slip up, if only because I've addressed it with him before. The kind of language that he used that was completely unacceptable. I've told him before, like, I don't like it when you talk to me like that. And in his defense, no excuses, but in his defense, it seemed as though since I mentioned that to him, he was better about it. He had not done that, at least around me. I will
Okay.
never try to police what people say in private. People have inside jokes. People talk a way that they talk. Like to have no context and say people can't speak a certain way, I think is wrong. I think inside jokes with friends. I think different contexts that you might not have, right, can change the way that language works.
Sure.
But the last thing I said before we went live was don't get me canceled. And what he said is absolutely the kind of thing that if this was magic, I would be canceled. My
Yeah.
stream would be canceled. We would have to have stopped everything and cancel him to defend ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So um, there's a lot I could say, but I value my personal privacy, I guess. So like if that's something that has to happen, I can talk about it
I
more.
don't,
But
I don't, I don't,
um,
I don't think we got to take it there.
yeah,
I think just saying that, like, hey, what was said is not chill. We don't condone it. Let's not do it again. Let's just rise
yeah,
above and be better is just all that needs to be said. And really all that I want to talk about when it came to drama wise, I actually just want to talk about more of like the event because Sam, I think what you've
okay,
done here is like made a cool thing. But if we didn't talk about that, we would be uh uh sweeping it under the rug, and that's not the point. Uh, this
right.
was very cool. I do want to talk about the format and how you feel like the entire thing went, like from inception to finish. Um, Clear the drama from your brain. How do you feel like the event went?
Um, so I'll say overall, like especially from a technical aspect, it went about as I expected.
Sure.
Um, there was definitely a lot more issues with the communications than I thought. I thought I had like a genius idea with like the we communicate through TTS, the teams communicate through Discord, and then we don't hear each other. That was like a huge part of it. That was obviously the intention of we can talk to our team privately and only speak game actions into TTS. And that technical element is just something where as a small time content creator, I have very much a mentality of do something bad and then you'll get better at it. You can only learn by doing. If you
Yeah.
practice hitting a baseball, what are you doing? You're hitting the baseball, right? You're
Right.
doing it. So, um, I went into it knowing that there was going to be hiccups, that there was going to be issues. I went into it knowing that things weren't going to be perfect, and that's how I treat everything. The Ace Arena, I would consider wildly successful, maybe the most successful thing I've ever actually done, as far as universe's content creation goes. Just how smoothly it seemed to run. Haven't heard any complaints about that. We had like modified time rules. and like I think it might have tripped up one person, right? So like maybe one single hiccup, and that would be super successful. But there's still things to learn from that, right? There's still ways to improve, and so I think it was very successful. But at way before it ever happened, if you remember, I know I talked to Andrew Holder a lot about it, and like my teammates, and I don't know if I talked to you about it, but like months ago, like right after the challenge was made, even I was like, okay, next time there's gonna be differences, right? Next time is gonna be one of the things I've talked about, like lower, like smaller team size, um, different formatting for how we're picking players and things like that, right? So
I
this was mostly
I really
this
liked the
was mostly
5v5. I thought the 5v5 was dope. Truly, I thought it was sick.
the only thing, yeah. So the only thing that I regretted about the 5v5 immediately, and I can talk more about the 5v5 when we talk about like my intentions, I guess overall for the event. But
Yeah.
um, my only issue with the 5v5 was the way it was originally set up. I was gonna have like Ashley Fullerton come out of retirement, play the penultimate match, and that might not have ever happened. So I would have dragged her out here, before her anniversary dinner and had her practice universes and then sit there for 3 hours and watch a game and then not even play.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure, for
So
sure.
like when she was like, I have to go on first, I was like, that's actually good because if Marvin doesn't get the player, Andrew doesn't get the player, and like either of the Andrews, I guess, like that's nowhere near as big a deal, I guess, in the grand scheme of things to me is if I was like, hey Ashley, do you want to do like this cool show event? I don't even know if you play universes anymore. And she was like, yeah, me and Keenan just got back into it. So it seemed like perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
And then immediately after that, I was like, oh, she might not even get to play because, as I think I told you on the day of the event, it was my intention to not only win with my team, but have my team win before you and I had to play.
Yeah. So that brings me to, I think, like the biggest point that I want to talk about is this felt way more like a grindy tournament than a WWE wrestling pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Or how it ended up. And we were taking it, Team Tam was taking it as a wrestling pay-per-view rather than the grindy event, right? Like you were like, hey, we're gonna win beforehand, and my thing was like, yo, I'm super down. I knew Andrew was losing his game. Andrew knew Andrew was losing his game. He knew
Right.
as soon as I picked him on the team. We made the group chat, and he goes, guys, I'm an anchor. You're gonna have to carry the rest of it. Like we knew, but we knew that the goal of Andrew was supposed to be to bring hype, bring excitement. He was coming back for the same idea of you bringing Ashley out. We brought Andrew out and just knew he was going to get waxed. That was the goal, right? And so,
well, and I think that's why Andrew had the most fun.
Yeah, totally, 100%, right? Like he
knew Marvin was going to play Pony.
Yeah.
There was just no question about it, and so like it wasn't a surprise to him when Marvin played his best deck.
Yeah. So my point is, and the thing that I wanna say, and again, I'll repeat it again. You got the W. There was a miscommunication. I'm down for it. When you do this with people in the future, do you want this to be more of a skilled showcase of 5 incredibly good players versus 5 incredibly good players, or are you looking for more pay-per-view? Like what do you want out of it?
So to keep the analogy alive, for me it's more boxing in the
Sure.
sense that you still have to sell it and promote it verbally. You still have to make the content to hype it up. But it for my intention from the beginning that there was always going to be a genuine competition,
Mm-hmm.
that there was always going to be a place of, and again, that doesn't necessarily mean play the best, play the sweatiest, play the top tier, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it in my opinion, it should have been serious but not competitive, which is like a weird line to draw, right? Like you should be
Incredibly
trying
hard.
to win, but it is not so serious. Like with the check button thing, everyone was super cool, right? That I would consider non-competitive. Competitive wise, it would have been, no, you fucked up the game state,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why, unfortunately, he didn't really get to do anything. And I should have talked about him more and had him on stream, and I feel really bad because I feel like I wasted Kevin Broberg's time. That's probably the celebrity judge might actually be like the thing I missed on the most, talking about like hits and misses, is I could have included him more. But that's one of the reasons I wanted like the celebrity judge there, because I know Broberg would be like, all right, let's cut the bullshit, right? It's not a tournament. Like, don't try to angle shoot people on something where we can just have a random card on top, right? Um, so in that respect, like non-competitive, not heated, but still serious. And so, you know, in the initial challenge video, I mentioned, you know, I'm getting the best. I'm bringing pillars of the game, and you know, with some caveats of different categories that they have to be at. So it's not just like, oh, I took the best players who had free time and willing to do it, and you know, challenge someone to go find the next best players. Um, but it was always my intention that this was like a world's hype thing. We're going into the biggest competitive event. I think I even mentioned this was like a good chance for players at that event, like Marvin and Colby, to practice for Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was laying the seeds the whole time
Sure.
for a serious showdown match.
Okay. Definitely was something I lost in translation, and I'll totally take the L on that. I mean, I picked my team because I knew I didn't have to babysit them. I could look at my my 3 of my 4 teammates and be like, "Yo, you guys are big kids, you can figure it out." And then when I do the rookie thing and like find the rookie, by the grace of God, Tom scooped and let me have Rebby so that I didn't have to talk to Rebby on Discord at all. I just went into the living room. And so like that was cool and easy. And so like it was just a misunderstanding of what you wanted out of the event. And so for that, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I wish we would have put up a better fight.
So I do also I I don't want to get too much into this because this is where I think it might start to look like finger pointing and like create a back and forth. But I do think that the perception of my team played like quote unquote good meta decks,
Mm-hmm.
and your team were playing fun showcasey locals decks is not a good take. I really reject that narrative overall, and I understand where it comes from because Mirko 2 topped, Pony topped, and King Ghidorah topped. But these are all characters that have like a single top over the nationals, I believe. I think
Mm-hmm.
Ghidorah topped in like UK only or something like that. I can't remember if it was UK, Oceania. Um, and then Pony had like a single top in the US, right? And the deck, you know, like not to get into deck lists and stuff. And then Mirko, if anyone asked in December if Mirko 2 is a meta deck, no one would have said anything. They would have been like, yeah, it's just another firepower deck, maybe. And you could swap any character on top.
Sure.
And then to look at, you know, the backstory there, right, is, you know, this is just mostly to defend my guys, my team, and
Yeah.
Ashley. Um, but like Luis has been playing nothing but Mirko 2 like almost his entire universe's career. He has been like the Death Furies guy at our local, playing Bakugo 4 or Mirko 2 like exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
And he has been trying to make this deck be respected, but he can't travel. He's in school. You
Sure.
know, he has school. He doesn't get to play as much as he likes. And he has been in many discords, my Discord, probably your Discord, David's Discord, playing games, trying to convince people that this is a real deck, and he gets like no respect for it. And then it tops nationals, and people still don't respect him for it. You know, people still don't. Now people think he's net decking that deck when his deck was, you know, very similar before, right?
Sure.
Andrew Porrat has wanted to play King Ghidorah at an event for a very, very long time. I was very surprised that he picked that deck. I thought he was going to play Ymir again, and he was going to save Ghidorah for Worlds. But again, we looked at it, and I mentioned, like, this is a great chance to practice for Worlds and for the LCQ. And he wants to get games in and, you know, compete against somebody else who is going to Worlds in Colby Cram. Marvin Emery, we all knew was gonna play Pony. That's his deck. Again, similar to like Luis, like he has been putting that on the map. He's been trying to earn respect in the game with it. And all 3 of those players I think the biggest disconnect is they still have something to prove. Phil Birch doesn't have anything to prove. He doesn't give a fuck. You know, Andrew Holder doesn't have anything to prove. This was a one last ride for him, and I'm glad he enjoyed it. You know, Colby Cram doesn't have anything to prove. He didn't even go to a regional, I don't think. Like he was just qualified off LCs and like didn't take it seriously like I thought, right? So like, and then Ashley, her only decks that she's like been in tune with coming back to the game were Mimic and Godzilla.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just circumstantially wise, and if she wants to do good, like this is her first time playing in front of people in a long time, right? So like she wants to do good, she wants to be the champion that she is again. And so I think all of my players I picked specifically because they have something to prove. I wanted to showcase their skill and talent and give them a platform that people could appreciate their play and their deck building because they all have bring unique things to the table. They're all great players and they're all good deck builders, which is something this game needs more of. And on the flip side, again, not to do too much finger pointing, but when Phil Birch complains, "Oh my God, it's a sweaty Godzilla deck," and then immediately plays 5 or 6 attacks turn 2 in his 5-hander to deal 34 damage, just because you put woman on top doesn't make your deck a fun, cool locals deck. You are still playing a sweaty, boring, uninteractive aggro deck that is not good for a showcase match. Colby Cram playing Gamer Toga is the opposite of what I would believe makes for fun and interesting gameplay for a showcase match. Now, granted, I would also argue King Ghidorah falls into that category as well. And a lot of people would put Pony in that when Pony's running hot, but as I saw in the Ace Arena, people actually really enjoy and get hyped for Pony. So Revylin's deck was cool. I don't, you know, no one's playing like the Mill Titan Fury stuff. I have nothing to say about that. Like, she had like the anti-block cards and stuff. Like she was doing different things, right? But as far as like the like one team was playing fun decks and one team was playing serious decks, I don't buy that narrative at all.
Interesting.
I don't think the woman deck is like a fun deck to take to a locals. I don't think Gamer Toga is a fun deck to take to locals. I don't think they provide a fun and interesting, like, you know, gameplay experience. But that's where, you know, but that's the thing is you have to find and appreciate the game for what it is. Because when you're trying to look at it through a telescope of what is meta and what are these characters, and again, you go back to like firepower decks, everyone just goes, oh, it's not Mirko 2, it's a firepower deck, right? It's a Death Fury's card pool clearing deck. So like it's just such a shallow take to look at character only and try to decide what, you know, what makes this interesting or fun or whatever. And at the end of the day, everybody's cool is someone else's toxic. That's just how it is.
Okay.
And I will say one last thing is because of that last part where no matter what you think is cool, someone else is going to find it toxic. I will never, ever in my life blame someone for bringing a character or a deck to a locals or any level of competition. You know, if I say, hey, you want to play some fun games or something, like if I go out of my way to say, like, let's play something casual and silly, that's one thing. But like, if I show up at my locals and complain that someone is playing a King Ghidorah or a good deck, I am the corny one. I am the problem. I am making my locals worse by doing that.
Yeah. I guess this is not where I expected the conversation to go, but I mean, we're here, so I guess we could talk about it. When it comes to the idea of meta decks, my question for you, if we had to put it on a tier list, top X characters in the game, what top X would you put woman at?
I mean, after seeing the way
she's the best
Phil...
X character in the game, just in general.
Well, see, that's the thing, right? Are we talking character? Or are we talking deck? Because that's kind of my point. Is I think the deck matters more than people give it credit for. And there's a lot of people who, I mean, you played through diversity, dude. How many times did someone just say, "Here's the most toxic deck in the game, but I'm going to play Skullman 2 first instead of Spike," and it runs basically the exact fucking same for game 1, and then you are just that character for games 2 and 3. but it's so similar that game one that it like doesn't really matter. And that's kind of how I feel. Like watching the way the woman deck works, like after seeing it in action, it kills a Godzilla on turn two. That's an A tier character to me. That's an A tier deck.
Okay.
You know, if we're ranking strictly characters in a vacuum, obviously there's going to be characters that have a lot more going for them than Woman. But I mean, Woman is a deck I think you've taken to tournaments before. You know, Woman is a deck that has always surprised me at how good it is. People just don't play it. And that's so much of this game that when people try to evaluate like what's meta and what's good and stuff like that, and then like imagine if we did the showcase match before Nationals and someone played Chaos Krista, you know, would anyone be like, wow, they brought out a sweaty deck? No, they'd be like, wow, it's so cool. It loops Runaway and it's doing all these new and interesting things, like the same way they reacted when Travis won. You know, it's just people get used to seeing characters and they have a shallow take about it, is how I feel.
Yeah, I guess I don't agree, but again, that's not like the point that we're this is not the conversation I wanted to have. I wanted to talk about how to make your event cooler.
I didn't really want to get into a back and forth about it. I guess that's my fault, but I had to get that off my chest because I think it's always supremely unfair to attack people for their deck choices, regardless of I guess the perception of what the event was supposed to be. And then on the flip side, that narrative just doesn't gel. Like the idea, you know, that you can attack one side, but then look at the other side and they're playing fucking alleyway ambush Toga. Like, you know, imagine if Andrew brought Ymir and you just got
really prolific in the format right now, and everybody is that is on the radar for sure, and doesn't need to be showcased as what cool tricks did this deck get. The alleyway ambush Toga that was playing things like throwing shade.
I mean, it's a deck. For one thing, it's actually one of the decks that can play enough attacks to get through a Ghidorah wall. But you know, that's a deck that gets tried, at least in my circles, every single set that comes out. People go back to Gamer Toga and they go, "Oh, I can stuff my card pool with Combine." People played it when Feather Shot came out. Was it when Hawks came out and Hawks Feathers came out, and you could just add them to the card pool? You know, it's not like an unknown deck, and I get that it's not a meta deck. But again, if the flip side is we're trying to play fun showcase decks, that's where I'm saying like, yeah, you didn't play a meta deck, but you also didn't play a fun showcase deck, in my opinion. So it just there's the disconnect.
Okay. That's fair. You know, I was gonna bring Devil Jin that's trying to kill people on turn 2. So that is my bad.
Yeah, I sent you the list. I was gonna end up playing it. It was an 80 card Rodan pile, so like I was clearly not on the same page as the rest of my team. You know.
Yeah. I want to talk lead up into the event itself. I think the videos were awesome. I think the videos were spot on where they were supposed to be. I think there needs to be an unwritten rule that all trash talk stops as soon as the first match happens, though. Like as soon as the first card is drawn,
right.
We're all there to have fun. That was all pre-show stuff. We're all there to play a GAME game.
Yeah.
10 friends get into a room and all play a game.
Yeah. And on that note, when my team specifically asked me, like, can we trash talk them? I said, no, you don't know them that well. You know, like my response was, if you have a level of rapport with them, you can go for it, you know. And I think Andrew tried, and like maybe Marvin was too locked in, or he's just not that cool with Andrew, you know, but he made content back and forth, and the content was absolutely the highlight, to the point where I almost wish we never played the games and just kept making the content. So you know, because if it was up to me, you know, we'd be out there with DX glow sticks telling everyone on your team to suck it, and it would all be in good fun, right?
Yeah.
But I understand that like not everyone would get that. So I you know, I try very hard to make sure that I'm not playing myself, You know, I hate the idea that like Tyler One is like a streamer where you have to find the real him in tiny little bits and he's just playing a character all the time. I hate that. But I understand like for content creation you have to adopt a character sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just trying to make it like very obvious, right? Like when I call you Tamothy, like that's me playing a character. I don't call you Tamothy in real life, you know?
Right.
Um so I 100% agree that like the trash talk during the game, if it did happen, I feel like it was probably like peanut gallery, a technical issue unexpected, and you know, regardless of whatever beefs people had previously that I didn't know about coming into this,
Yeah.
it's absolutely not supposed to be a part of it.
Totally. 100%. Uh, the actual event itself, I think I had a player get frustrated that the peanut gallery existed. And what I mean by that is that
Yeah.
it didn't feel like it was rookie v rookie, creator versus creator, champ versus champ, that it was your best team, or your team versus our team, and that actual decisions weren't being made on the individual level, which I think is a
Mhm.
totally fair thing. And even I call myself doing it, right? Of like, I would like chime in and be like, hey, don't forget this thing. Where it's like, you know, it's not my game. I should be chatting with my team about what's happening in the game, but not like, hey, you
Yeah.
do this thing. And I privately, I
So,
gave you like two ideas of something that we can do. Of you just like have the judge and have the two players jump into the ring and they just play their game, and either we are all on our own call, like the 8 other players all just chatting about the game, enjoying ourselves, and like that's where, to your face, small amounts of I can't believe your player missed that check, holy shit, yeah, talk about a rookie, right? Like that's
yeah.
lighthearted ribbing. Or we just like pop off in our own discords and my team is talking on my stream and your team is talking on your stream, and then they let them play the game.
Yeah, um I think that
Pause. Ross Toss
yeah.
84. I think a good question to ask here is, would we even be having this conversation if the other team won? Like the margins were closer if they appeared in some of these games. Mirko Aaron was very close. Pony overhaul required triple low block. The answer is yes. I would absolutely be having this conversation if I blew
Really?
out
I
if I
would expect it to 1000% be no.
I yeah, it's actively to make the cool thing that we did better.
Oh, the conversation about like improving it. Yeah, I think he's talking about specifically like would the conversation of one team was sweaty and one team was cool decks.
Yes,
Like I think if
absolutely.
your team,
If your
yeah,
team brought a bunch of fun shit, and we were like, actually, we're gonna play pre-errated Mimic and Burt One and Krista, and I'm gonna take all the top lists from the last format and just like slam them in your face. And you
no,
were
no,
you
no,
were
no, no.
bringing
He's saying if
you were
you're no,
bringing
no, no,
Asui
no,
3, and like
no,
like
that's
if
not
the
what he's
roles
saying.
were swapped, yes, I would absolutely, and be like, hey man, I'm sorry that the
That's not what he's
miscommunication
saying though,
happened.
Tam. That's not what he's asking. He's asking if the overhaul won and if the toga won, would we even talk about my team's character choices? And I think the answer is absolutely not. People would go, wow, look at all this cool other stuff you can do besides sweaty decks. Because he's right, and that's my point is the margins were very slim. It's not like my team was just crushing your team. It came down to Rebby having to check a 2 to lose to my rookie. Like these games were not these games were not blowouts. It wasn't like you guys brought starter decks and got blown out. Like one 5 check away, and like me and you are playing, and I almost guarantee I lose to that Devil Jin deck because my Rodan pile has one combo, you know.
I
And then the conversation is never ever about how my team picked gross decks.
I hmm. I'm gonna really try and clear my chamber here.
Yeah, I know you're on a limited amount of time, so this could be like a discussion
You're
for
good.
another
You're good.
time
You're good.
because
I don't mind. I am. I actually, my
'cause I
coaching got
would
moved.
rather talk
My
about
coaching got
improving the
moved
event.
tomorrow, so I actually
Okay.
have time. I am okay. I
Okay.
have the next hour and a half to get done through previews and this conversation, but I think it's an important conversation. Here's
Yeah.
here's here's the deal. You ready? If my team won playing, and we'll say fun decks versus sweat decks, which is a definition that you're challenging, but it's the one that I'm going to use
I
for
can
now.
admit that they were sweaty.
If my team won and it was close, I don't think this conversation would have happened. But I don't think that I think my players are very good. I don't think there's a universe where that Toga list can beat the Ghidorah list. I don't think that there's very many lists on our team that could beat the Ghidorah list. I don't think that there is actually that was just a free win. So like that was good. And maybe it's because of how Ghidorah plays the game. And again, I'm not attacking Andrew. He made the right call for the thing. He likes Ghidorah. That's chill. I think for a showcase match, that deck is like not fun, right? That's like do you remember Kevin Broberg 2? The Assets Kevin Broberg?
Yes.
That's asking you to bring that into a showcase match where my team was like, hey, let's play the cool ones and see how hard we can flex these cool decks, rather than how explosive can I make woman, right? Like how like a character that is quote not on the map, rather than, hey, I'm gonna put you in prison and Tam's gonna lose. I don't know about you, Sam. I lost 20 viewers whenever Ghidorah happened. He's not fun or exciting to watch in a no stakes showcase match.
Yeah, so this is, I think, an important part of the conversation. And I'm trying really hard to not relate this to other forms of content that I watch.
Sure.
So it might take me a minute to get the thought, but this was not strictly content first, I guess is the way to put it to me. This was not purely for the content. This was not like to get crazy clips or to do like, like I've had an idea where to get something like that, like I wanted to do like a dunk contest years ago, and I've never figured out the rule set to make that work, right? Like that is an event where it's bring a kooky crazy combo that has no chance of winning and we're all going to pop off that it's possible, you know? And for me personally, to make the kind of content that I want, and again, I thought that I had laid the groundwork, and this just, communication on my end can improve. And also just from like talking to like the final round and like Let's Talk UVS guys who are doing like a very similar thing, right? Like I think they actually have stakes though, so that's obviously different. Um, but for me personally, for it to be good content, there had to be a genuine competition. You know what I mean? Like there had to be people actively trying to win. That doesn't mean that you have to be actively trying to play the best deck. Um, it doesn't mean that you have to actively, you know, play like the sweatiest, hardcorest deck that has the best matchups into everything. But again, I told my team like I do want to win, and from the very first challenge, I thought it was like very obvious that I'm trying to bring a lot of the best players at different tiers to win the game, to win the match before Worlds, to showcase what the Worlds format might look like, and have high level gameplay. And it wasn't about flashy plays or interesting decks or cool characters. It was supposed to be about having genuine competition where people tried to win. Um, so for me, like if you talk about like it's competition first or content first, I'd like to say that they're like equal, because it doesn't feel right to say that it should be competition first when, I couldn't even decide on a deck. I literally did not find a deck that I liked enough to try to play, because if I could have played like anything and it didn't matter about winning, that's one thing, but I knew that I would want to at least have a game. I'd want to not just get turn two times in a row. That's not good content either. So, from the very outset for me, it was about I don't know, putting your best foot forward.
Here's what I guess I'll end this on. First and foremost, I don't think that anybody walked into this 5-person uh, uh, match going, you know what? I think I'm gonna lose. I think I'm actively gonna try to lose, which is inside of the spirit of everybody is trying to win. So the individual games, Andrew didn't actively throw whenever he lost. Rebby didn't choose to stack the two or not play an attack in order to fit the narrative, right?
Right.
So like the idea of, oh, the players were trying to win. They were trying to win the individual games, but I, like I don't I don't I think that's not a very fair comparison. I will say that I have had this exact same issue. I had this exact same issue with me and Barrett playing our little top eights, where he would come up, he would in secret bring 4 decks, and I would in secret bring 4 decks. And sometimes when we weren't on the same wavelength, all 4 of his decks would blow out my 4 decks because I picked something that just genuinely could not win. And then the next week, I would pick 4 decks that just could not, were not in the same league as the 4 decks that he brought. And so I would blow him out and win. And it actively made the videos worse, and people didn't watch them.
I mean, low key, you know, just to like pull back the curtain, that's why I stopped doing viewer games. That's why I stopped streaming games with viewers, because it was, you know, the same collection of people. They were all practicing like their hardcore, sweatiest decks. And if they weren't, then it was like a deck that was just put together, rough draft, and it didn't function. And it neither one made for good content. I could never match my opponent. It was so hard to pick a deck that could match the random opponent I just got paired into to make good content out of it. Because sometimes I would reveal my character and it's just a bad matchup. I would reveal a character and I'm playing a real deck and they're not, or vice versa. And that's low-key why I stopped doing viewer games, because the difference between what is a casual deck and what is a serious deck in this game, like there's so many levels to it. Again, like you know, not to pick out like a specific deck, but the woman deck is not a meta deck. And yet, if I brought a casual deck, I would lose 100 games out of 100 to it. I would never beat Phil Birch playing that woman deck if I brought what I consider a casual deck. So to me, that's like a huge disconnect. Like if I brought a fun deck, I'm probably never fucking dealing 10 damage to that woman deck.
So here's the point that I'm trying to make is we changed the structure of how the top eights work, and now before every week, we draft 8 characters and pick 4.
Yeah.
So we know exactly the power level of what is coming and can do the damn thing, right? And now our games are significantly closer and significantly more fun. They are tighter because we are playing in the same space. Whether it is at the start of the format, normally we're playing what we perceive as the best deck in the room, and by week 9, when we have drafted 60 characters, we're playing in the C tier dredges, right? And so when it comes to this, it's your event. You can do it however you want. My suggestion is for you as the team captain, and maybe figure out how your team can all get into a Discord call as one of these lead up content things, and you guys draft 10 characters that you are allowed to play. And so your opponent, you've got double the amount of characters that your rivals could have chosen from. There are no repeats. We couldn't have picked Godzilla because you picked Godzilla. Well, we're gonna pick, and so that way we know on your team, hey, we drafted woman. That's our choice. We made that choice to you. And then you guys picked Ghidorah. And we go, well, fuck. Okay, so this X is off XYZ thing because Ghidorah's possibly on the list. And then you get to figure out what the actual event looks like so that all 10 players are on board with, hey, this is the kind of event that we're playing. Whether it is we're playing the best of the best or we're getting a little crazy with it.
I do think that if every person, if all 10 people were in like a Discord chat and like
Sure, you
interacted
ready?
at all before this.
You should talk to your team and be like, who do you guys want me to pick up as the draft? Right? Who would you be comfortable with me picking up for you as a draft? And then like you and
Well,
the captain get in and do the thing, right?
yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is if my players and your players were in like one Discord chat,
Mm-hmm.
just to talk to each other, not even necessarily discuss the event. I think a lot of this would have been avoided. I think we would have seen, again, there's certain things that I didn't know about that were pre-existing before the event that contributed to, I'll say, some of the toxicity, for lack of a better term. And I think that people just knowing each other, because like again, going back to like final round and Let's Talk UVS is gonna like have a whole thing. These are people who hung out at events all year. These are people who brought up the event while they're hanging out together in person, yucking it up and stuff. So, like, I think just making sure everyone's copacetic with each other on the same page would be huge. But on top of that, the format does have to change as far as making sure that everyone's on the same playing field.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the draft. I love the idea of conquest. Even trying to actually do a crew battle. So the inspiration for this, I meant to say this like an hour ago, but a big part of the inspiration for this was thinking about people talking about how it's weird that universe's teams don't let you talk to your teammates.
Yeah.
That sparked the idea for me to go, okay, well, why don't we do that? What's the most common answer of why we don't do that? Because it would take too long. Okay, well, I'll get a celebrity judge who talks about slow play and Kevin Broberg all the time, right? And I'll have him police the slow play so it doesn't take too long. And from there it was, well, wouldn't a crew battle be cool, right? But then the crew battle is, for those who aren't familiar with the crew battle in Smash Brothers, you have to keep the same number of stocks, right? It's the same number of lives between opponents. And in a crew battle format, like let's say, there's one deck that just beat your team, you can now pick the best deck to fight it, to have the best chance to fight it. But obviously, if we're on different pages as far as competitiveness, that doesn't solve it alone. So I don't hate the captain draft idea. I also love the fact that that means that there's no mirror matches. I
Yeah.
was kind of afraid of a mirror match,
Yeah.
just because I didn't think it would be like super interesting content. Um, but
There
so
were
I
there were
definitely think that
certainly there were certainly conversations about our team just whenever we jumped into TTS, just copy and pasting your guys' decks.
okay, so there was a point where I was like, if I can't come up with a deck, there is a chance that you just load your Devil Jin deck and I just copy and paste and go, this is what I'm playing. But
So
then I realized I don't think it would pass the rules of that I set
yeah,
forward. So
yeah. So
so
I don't have much else to say, and I have a lot of people in chat saying this conversation feels weird because it feels like the event was more bad than good when that's not how you felt. I totally get that. I totally feel that. The point of the reason that I wanted to have this conversation and I wanted to have it live on stream was, one, there was a little bit of drama, and two, Sam, I
so
just think this is a cool idea, man, and I just want to actively make it better. And as somebody who was in it, I just like wanted to workshop some cool things with you. Obviously, it's your challenge series. If you want to take anything that I say and just throw it in the garbage, that's okay. But I just like wanted to get my thoughts out. And that's all this is, right?
yeah. So the point of this conversation, yeah, is to say that we don't condone the foul language that was used, which is necessary. I think that that's important, because people can go down the line and I can point to. Hopefully, this will be uploaded. I assume you're gonna have this on YouTube or something.
Nope.
But I can
I
point
guess
to
it
this
technically
if
is.
anyone has, yeah, if anyone has any controversy, who thinks that I like condone that, I can point to me saying no, 48 hours later. So I think that part was important. And I think it's important that people know that there's no beef between us. I know
Yeah.
that people were upset. I knew going into this, and this sounds kind of shitty to say, but I've done this a lot actually. I've competed in things, I've done exhibitions and casuals and locals and friendlies and blah blah blahs. I've traveled to play in sport exhibitions and spent real money and for nothing other than to play fucking volleyball, and someone always gets their feelings hurt. Somebody's always upset. Someone always doesn't have fun, and my baseline mentality is it just happens at regionals. Somebody pays all this money, they travel to play the game they like, and then they don't have fun and they're upset. And it's a normal human part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that that stuff bothers me too much. Again, like I said, I think some of your players may have a familiarity that they think buys them that sort of language with me. And, they just didn't realize that they're actually in a public place, not a familiar place. And so people took it very, very poorly, and I don't blame them. The reason that kind of stuff bothers me is not because it bothers me, it's because it bothers my friends. It's because my friends ask people not to talk that way. And so that's all it takes for me is people I care about don't want to hear it. So that's all it takes for me. But as far as like the seriousness of this goes, I think the event was a success. I think it was a good time. There was always there's always going to be hiccups. I'm just sad that the hiccups we got were the type of hiccups that we got.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
going into this, dude, I knew Phil Birch was going to complain the whole time and be pissed off and be toxic to my team. That's just who he is. So like that was like a baseline, so like if I sound like I'm not taking it seriously, it's not so much that, so much as just I'm not surprised by that element, and I don't let it affect me. Um, like that's just I don't know. Like you say, Phil Birch is going to be at an event. I know he's going to say something toxic and rude, and he doesn't care because he doesn't need me in his life. He doesn't need to be a part of these. He has his own friends, so he has the security that no matter what he says, he can just go back to being friends with them, and he doesn't need this, right? So like, what good does it do me to care about it? Um, but the event was good. I'm planning to do more. I've said the whole time, like the format's going to change every time. I don't think I'm ever going to do a challenge the same two ways because a lot of what I'm trying to do with my content and with competitions is I'm trying to evaluate what works for universes. Does 16-man elimination, single elimination tournaments work for universes? Does a webcam event where top 8 gets the prizing split very evenly work for universes? We've always had really top heavy events. I'm trying to spread it out. How can I get more people to, like I talked about, everyone goes to regionals, someone gets upset. How do I get less people to be upset?
Yeah.
And next time I think I want to do like a traditional 3v3 team style thing where 3 matches are going on at once. All of them can be watched, and maybe when you're done with your game, you can then start helping your teammates. Because the biggest fail I think from this event was 5 people in the same call trying to play the same game. That was never like my intention.
Yeah.
I really thought that like the quote unquote team coaching was going to be us watching one person play the game and they would ask us for help, you know? And when people think that, like, so for example, when people are like, it's not really your rookie playing versus the rookie, I can dispute that because Luis did not listen to us for everything. Luis did his own thing. He got advice from us, he took it into consideration for whatever that's worth, but he is the player and he made choices that we wouldn't have. I think one of the most pivotal plays of the first match versus Phil was Ashley plays I forget what attack opened, but she played an attack and then smashing stomp and then uh Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken. And I said you should play the Vast Hybrid second, hold everything else. And what ended up happening was she played the Smashing Stomp second. Phil committed his whole board to pass the check, and now Vast Hybrid doesn't get to freeze anything, right? It's way less value. And like the whole game was like changed from that point. So I do think like the team coaching element has more merit than it might seem. You might think it's like one you like if you play a co-op board game, right? And everyone's just listening to one person with their turns, like everyone like shows their hand of cards. Like if you play Castle Panic, I don't know, this is probably a bad example, but like if everyone's just like, we're gonna play open up with all of our cards on the table and we're gonna work together, you end up with like one person playing the game. So I understand that that's not ideal. But I do want to keep like the team element together because that was a big impetus of this was people saying, why can't I talk to my teammates while we're playing the game together? If it becomes like a once per game, I'm gonna ask a coach for advice. I love that.
Yeah.
It keeps it simple, it keeps it clean. it keeps the merit of each player intact. I love that. So I was planning to have a video up tomorrow asking for feedback, right, about how we can make this better. And so anyone who's typing in chat with ideas, I greatly implore you to look out for a video on my YouTube channel to leave a comment on things and changes you would like to see for the format, because I do think 5v5 is good. Maybe we're gonna have everyone play. People in the chat were like, everyone should get to play anyways. I will say my intention, again, pull back the curtain a bit, make it pro wrestling, make it content first at this point. My intention was always that you and I don't fight because we're the money match and people will come back to see the rematch. My intention was always to put to put myself as the bad guy at the top, and you have to work your way to me. You have to fight back to me. You get to have your revenge story potentially, because I'm not going to let you win. But that was my intent for the content, right? If you watch boxing, if you watch pro wrestling, they have like the rule of threes where there's got to be a winner and then the other person wins, and then you have the rubber match to get the maximum amount of hype and things like that. And to me, it still has to happen organically, but that was always my intention was, I want, like, if I lose my first showcase match and then I challenge someone else, it holds less weight. Obviously, I don't want to just win all of them, because then, I mean, maybe I do, because again, it is supposed to be a competition first, but I don't know. It just, to me, I really wanted it to be like a showcase of high level play. I wanted winning to matter, and I wanted it to be fun. I wanted all three of those things to come together. And I feel like we hit on 2 out of 3, and it's just 2 out of 3 for 2 different teams, right? Like, you have a different 2, I have a different 2.
Fair enough. Well, Sam, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for speaking this piece. Thanks for hearing my suggestions on how you do the next ones.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm glad we got to hopefully clear the air. I hope people don't think that there's like any real bad blood between us. Hopefully, again, I guess also I should say on record, a lot of that event I was muted talking to chat. A lot of that event, or deafened, I should say. I was not listening to the Discord call between all the echoes and the different, like my TTS volume was very low, so I very much couldn't hear the players. Most of the time when my players were asking for help, I couldn't even hear it because I was trying to balance the audio and do all the technical stuff. So if there is stuff that I missed, I will just blanket apologize for anything that my players said that bothered your players. Again, that was never my intention, and I am disappointed at how my players acted. But at the same time, it seems that the feeling was very mutual overall. So I'm not really here to like point the finger or place blame. I just really hope that everyone is better next time about it, and that we, like you said, I think the trash talk, whether it's in private or public, stops once the game starts.
Fair enough. All right, buddy. I have these reveals that I gotta get to. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, are you gonna do the air reveals first?
Air?
Yeah, are you revealing air cards?
No, I'm stealing David Tomb's void cards, and then I'm going through the life cards that I'm supposed to do.
Ah, okay. Well, I will be in chat. Thank you again for having me. Thank you guys for tuning in to all these weekend events if you did so. And all I can say is I hope the next one is better.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, peace. All right, chat. That was a fun conversation. Really enjoyed that. Glad that Sam got to talk his piece. Glad that he took a couple of my suggestions. Let's see if he does something with them. Let's get to it. As I have to... Oh, I'm going crazy. Yeah. Boop. How many Fs was that? Tam's only doing live? Yeah, David Tomb's wishes. Click this. I get rid of this. Click this button and then say, yo, what up? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We are doing some Critical Role first look previews. Boom, this guy right here. First and foremost, thank you very much to UVS Games for letting me have these previews to showcase them all to you, the good people at home. So with that, let's get rocking. But before we get into the reels proper, I do want to give a shout out to all of the other content creators that have been showing off and will be showing off more reveals throughout the entire week. Rebulin, Snuggy, UVS Hermit, UK versus Chris Smith, Let's Talk UVS, and Broden Caden. They are all doing previews. So you can go check out a bunch of different social medias in order to see them. As you see them run across your timeline, you will certainly see more. But with that said, let's talk about our first card. We have False Visage, 4/3 with a 2 high block. I like the fact that in the art there's the sparkles, and it looks like the 4 is sparkly here. It is a 3 high for 5 with the life attuned symbols. All of my cards, asterisks, are going to have the life attuned. It has the spell keyword, which is very cool for the set. It says response, after you gain health, this deck gets +1 speed and +1 damage. This card is very good. This card's very good. And then Healer Blitz, so if your character has the healer, gain 2 health, period. Just blitz as I do it. So if you're a healer, this is essentially just like a 4 high for 6, just out the gate as long as you have lost some amount of health. But there are a ton of different ways for you to do extra healing inside of the game. So it's very, very cool. I think this one is neat. I think this one's going to see a lot of play inside of any of these life gain decks. Look forward to it for sure. Up next, we've got Hammer Launcher. It is a 4/3, 1 mid for 4 with a 3 mid block. It's got the throw keyword, and it says blitz. If you're at maximum health, this deck gets +2 damage. Great sealed card. Just a 4 diff, 1 mid for 6. It's just like the first attack of the game. It feels pretty decent. It's a throw. It's got the life symbol. Any other damage that you can give, like if you are playing as as Kima, feels good. Feels good as just like a basic comment. If you're looking for a 4 diff throw, run it. Looking good. Up next, we've got Help or Harm. One of my favorite pieces of art inside the set so far. It's a 4/3, 4 mid for 4 with a 0 mid block. It has the ally and spell keywords. It says blitz. Your rival commits a foundation. If they cannot, they lose 2 health. So if they are completely stunned out, if they're completely committed out, this just says blitz, burn them for 2, and it can lose them the game. Response, after you block with this card, which it has a 0 mid block, which is great, a player of your choice gains 2 health. If you are at maximum health, Ready 1 Foundation has not been readied this combat phase. So a 0 mid block that sometimes when you block with it, if you're at full health, you just re-ready a card. And also, this card says that you gain up to your if you gain up to your maximum health, you then get to also use the bottom ability. So like if I've taken 2 damage, I block with it, gain 2, and then re-ready. Incredible spell to be able to go and defensively play with. And at the same time, like it's a 4 mid for 4. If you can figure out how to get these stats a little bit higher, it's gonna feel pretty okay. Up next, we've got Mighty Gathering. This is a 4/3 with a 2 low block, 4 low for 2, has the ally keyword, and says blitz : this deck gets +2 damage for each ally in your card pool. So the bigger, the longer that you can string out your attacks, the harder Mighty Gathering is going to hit. Love the art and the stylization of the Mighty 9 characters. This is a great art style, and I'm happy to get showcased inside the set. This is very cool. I like the fact that the ally keyword is getting some love here. I think this is gonna be really cool. You ready? I think this is really dope inside of like Kurama. I think Kurama's super neat. Why couldn't this have been 3 damage? You know why, Disaster Dan. No Ubami gaming here. This card's cool. I think this card is dope. I like this card a lot. It's a very neat 4 difficulty bomb rare to play at the end. Up next, we've got Peaceful Rebuke. Look at Caduceus here, just like arms out, big depots. 4/3, 4 low for 4 with a 1 low block. Has no keywords, but it just says Blitz. If you've gained health this turn, it gets +2 speed. 4 diff, 6 low for 4 is not bad. The big question here is you have to just figure out how to give this thing any other damage, because a 4 difficulty, 4 damage move, even if it's fast like a 6, is like pretty, it's good, but it's just, I just don't know if it makes a cut outside of, you know, sealed, which you can do at your pre-releases, right? When you're doing sealed, when you're fighting the bosses from the box topper, I think things like that, it's going to be useful, but you got to figure out how to give it some actual damage. It's got to hit a little harder to make it, especially because of like how funny the art is of it, just like this gives me big JoJo pose or JoJo energy of just like, I have to get closer to you. Up next, we've got Revive Ally as an attack. 5/3, 4 low for 5 with a 1 high block spell. It says Blitz, add a party backup with pretty difficulty 3 or less from your discard pile to your hand. So hey, I'll play this. I'll just pick up this backup. And then just slam it down next. I like the idea of the whole Revive Ally being, I take a backup and then pick it up into my hand. I think that's very, very cool. I think this one is neat. I think this one is very, very cool. I'm excited to see the synergies and how often I want to revive my party backups. Definitely makes me think of like, how often can I use them and then re-grab them and then reuse them and then re-grab them. I'm excited to do a little deck building with it. Up next, we've got Spirit Weapon Whirl. It is a 5/3, 5 high for 5 with a 2 mid block. It has the charge, spell, and weapon keywords. It says Blitz. So when you play it, if you have a spell or weapon attack in your discard pile, clear 1 other attack in your card pool and add 1 attack from your discard pile to your card pool in any position. So there are some characters in Critical Role that care about the positioning of cards. Specifically, things like Kima cares about having cards, a higher difficulty card in before this attack. And so we can play Spirit Weapon Whirl and then add in like a 7 difficulty attack, right? And then this move's gonna get really big. I think that this one is very neat. There's things like Titan's Armbar that I think is very cool. Yeah. Yes, it is positioned in the card pool. We're not gonna like commit the card in the card pool. I think that this one is neat. I do like the moving of pieces. I think it's very cool. Up next, we've got A Night's Rest. 2/5, 2 mid block. Enhance commit. This deck gets -2 speed. And then enhance once per turn tenacious, commit 1 backup, ready this foundation. So it is like -4 speed across the turn, as long as you have a backup that you can, you know, put on the watch for your for the party. I think this is a neat space to use backups if you're using a backup deck of like, it's -2 speed, commit my backup after I've used my backup. I don't care about their once per turn ability anymore, and then I'll have another -2 speed. Is it worth the 2/5, 2 mid block slot? It just depends on how much you like that tactic. I think this is a neat one. I'm not in love with it, but I gotta see more of how the rest of the set all works together. Up next, we've got Battle Priest. It is a 2/5 with a 3 low block. It has Deflect 2, which is a very cool response to mitigate some damage. Enhance commit. If you've gained health this turn, this deck gets +1 speed and +2 damage. Another great draft or sealed card. Committing for +1, +2 is not that incredible. Normally you don't want your offensive cards being committable, Like, you don't want to commit for them. But at the same time, this just having a random deflect is pretty decent. The block is not incredible, but just like being able to just slam this out of my hand, hey, -2 damage, and I'm totally chill with it. I think that I think more cards having deflect is not a bad thing. So I am here for Battle Priest. Up next, again, another piece of incredible art. We have Curious Tea Preparation, which is a 3/5/1 mid block. This is a rare foundation. It says enhance, commit, build one party backup with printed difficulty 3 or less from your card pool. So if you have one that goes up into the card pool, I may commit Tea Preparation and build it in. Enhance Tenacious, so playable while committed. Remove, this deck gets -1 speed for each backup in your stage. So if you take and attack attack your actual character, and you've got a couple backups, I'll just remove this one after I've built in another backup, minus the speed totally, and then just go for the block. I think this one is super neat, especially because we have some backups that add themselves to the card pool to do a thing. So I'll add myself to the card pool and then enhance commit, and I'll just build it right back down. Very, very cool. I think it's a very, very dope position to be. And again, yeah, chat says not unique, which I think is very cool. I'm excited to see if there are more party backups being printed in the future, or we're just going to be using the ones that we have. I can imagine like a TMNT has a party backup kind of idea. Moving on, we got a Healing Spell. We've seen this one, but I do want to talk about it. It's a 2/5/3 mid block spell keyword. Enhance commit. A player of your choice gains 2 health, or a backup of your choice gains 2 stamina. Just keeping the party alive. I want to be healthy. You want to be healthy. The backups want to be healthy. I'm down to have complete control of how much health gain is happening. Up next, I have Illuminating Spell. It is a 1/5/3 low block spell keyword. Enhance commit. This deck gets -2 speed. If your rival is attacking a backup, it gets -1 damage. So just a way to help keep your backups a little healthier. It's also just a 1/5/2 low block. 1/5 -2 speed card. And it's a spell, which I think is relevant. There are plenty of cards that are just like, hey, I'm going to change out, looking at, obviously not on this symbol, but looking at Caleb of like, I'll discard this spell and grab a fresh one, or using something along the lines of Gesture 1 from the Critical Role Challenger series. I can go spin a momentum, go pick up this Illuminating Spell. There's just like a lot more resources and options that you have just because it has the keyword. This is very, very solid, just like to set up your defense. I am into it. Up next, we've got Jaunty Trickster. This is the craziest, whitest background of all time on a card. 2/5/3 high block. Response flip. After you play a non-attack card, that card does not count towards progressive difficulty this turn period. So a lot of the actions that we have seen out of the critical set say that when they are played, they don't leave the card pool. They're very strong, but they don't leave. Some of the best actions in the game are it's going to be played and it won't leave the card pool. Well, this card says I respond flip and it doesn't. It left the card pool. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that you can do this on block is very cool. The fact that you can do this. Imagine your rival says, play something like, obviously this card is rotating, but there's something. Oh, you know what? Teleportation Stone asks you to play a non-attack card, or pass your turn. You can take and go, all right, you played Teleportation Stone. I have to play a non-attack card. I will play my non-attack card, and Jaunty Trickster is just going to make it not count towards progressive. And so these are like, there's small counter plays with, or my opponent breakers me. They breaker me, and I respond flip, and I say that, hey, this one doesn't count. I think this card has a lot of value in the anti-disruption category when it comes to cards. If there's a lot of breaker, if there's a lot of please play a different one kind of ideas, I think Jaunty Trickster is the way to go. Up next, we've got Knight on the Town. It is a 2/5/2 mid block. Enhance, commit a backup with difficulty 3 or less. This deck gets plus X damage. X equals the difficulty of the committed backup. If we are playing a backup based synergy, I'm going to take excuse me, I'm going to take and Commit my backups after I've used their once per turn abilities and make my moves hit nice and hard. I will say, I think it's interesting that we're committing backups with difficulty 3 or less. I think we could have just committed a party backup and it's probably been fine. This is probably to save ourselves from all of the Titan backups that are like, 7, 8, 9s or whatever that could exist. The big scary ones. I think my favorite part about this card, honestly, though, is that the trinkets get in a bath. I think that's very, very funny. We'll move on to Persuasive Talent. 1/4, 2 high block, response flip. Response colon. After you play this card, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a backup, you may add it to your hand. So if you have a way to make a backup the second card down, because it is after you play this card. So I'll play the Persuasive Talent. I make my check. If the next card is a backup, I recruit them to my hand, which is neat. I don't know how we're making that happen. It might just be, you have to roll with the punches, but it's pretty. It is a tough sell as a 1/4, but hey, if you make it work, it works. Up next, another card that we've seen, Powering the Blightstaff. It is a 1/5, 3 high block, another spell that it says enhance colon. If you're at max health, your attack gets +1 damage. I like the idea that inside of this set, the life symbol's entire identity is to gain as much health as possible and then keep you at that maximum health. We've now seen at least 2 cards here that say, if at max health, do this very cool, very awesome thing, which is neat. I like the flavoring of what this attuned symbol is looking like. From here we have, that's right, an infinity card. We have Vox Machina. 2/5, 2 mid block. Vox Machina has Vox Machina Breaker 2. So if your character has this is Breaker 1, huh? Interesting. Vox Machina Breaker 2, it says response after you block with this. Your rival's next check to play a card gets -2 because the rating here is a 2. There is a small misprint here, but that's okay. And then enhance remove. Each player spends 2 momentum, period. For each player that spent a momentum, your next check gets +2. So if it is a one-on-one game and I have 2 momentum and you have 2 momentum, I'm going to enhance remove my Vox Machina. You're going to spend 2 momentum. I'm going to spend 2 momentum. And then my next check is going to be +2 for each character that spent momentum, or for each player that spent momentum, me and you. So, pretty rad. I do like the Vox Machina Breaker 2. It reminds me a lot of the Hostile Introduction Breaker 2 that exists in the Knot and Gesture Challenger deck. So it's very cool to see that mimicked and mirrored here. It's very, very neat. And then our last card, we've got Blessed Metal. The ultra rare for Pike. It is a 4/3, 4 mid for 4 with a 2 mid block. It has Fury, Spell, and Weapon as its keywords with all of Pike's symbols. It says Blitz. If you've gained health this turn, draw 1 card, period. Just a sick cantrip. I play it, I redraw. And then if you're at max health, it gets +1 speed and +1 damage. So it is a 5 mid for 5, which works out for Pike incredibly, incredibly well. If this thing's, I think speed is greater than printed or damage is greater than printed, it gets extra. It is rad. Tan, this would be max +2 to our check. That is what I said for the Vox Machina card, because each of us spent momentum. So with that, the intended pronunciation is blessed, but I know that it's not easily discernible. Blessed Metal it is. What does Tim Friedli, lead designer of Critical Role, the Critical Role set, know about the pronunciation of these cards? Thanks for being in chat, man. I think this card is fine. It's a little tame, but I think that it is kind of in the exact wheelhouse of what Pike is looking to do. Redrawing cards, slinging attacks, trying to just like play cards over and over and over again. I think that this is an acceptable spot to be. I think it's fun. But with that, I would like to remind everybody that the pre-release is happening at your local game store from February 28th to March 6th. So if you liked any of these cards and you want to get your hands on them, make sure you go check out the pre-release, as well as get the full release that is happening on March 7th. Come out, play some games, try out the new box top boss battles. and enjoy the awesome cards. With that said, let me know what you guys think of the cards down in the comments of this video down below. Would love to know what you guys are thinking. And with that, we will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody. Good 20-minute video. Hey, yeah, I think these cards are neat. I think the draw one is very, very fine. It's a little boring. It gets 1/1. It gives me big battle or release energy, right? My biggest issue about this is that it is a blitz, and so like I can't just like open with this 4 diff and like feel good. This is kind of a 5 diff asterisk. Unless I have some sort of form health gain. It's the only thing that I'm like a little iffy on when it comes to Blessed Metal. But yeah, I think a lot of the other cards are kind of neat. I like Jaunty Trickster a lot. I don't know if it's going to see much play, but I think it's a cool spot to be in. Boring like Pike. Certainly the Pike character card is very boring. I think this card might see some play. Curious Tea Preparation. If it didn't say party backup, I think Beast Time would be going crazy, dude. Curious Tea Prep is gorgeous. Yeah, it's very cool. I kind of wish that it was on a mat. Will Kirkby absolutely crushed it with this art. Yeah. This card's interesting. What does Tim Free hate Jarrett? Yeah. Anywho, thank you all so much for hanging out with the previews. That's gonna be it for me, and that's gonna be it for me and the stream. We had a quick one today. I just wanted to do the reveals. I just wanted to talk with Sam. Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was fun. Make sure that you go and you hang out with the final round guys at 9 p.m. as they talk about the air symbol reveals that are going to be happening. I guess I could actually just do this. I'm stealing final rounds thing. If I do this, what happens? Hey, I guess I can't see Broden's. There you go. Can you see that, chat? Can you see that? If I do this and I put it on this side over here, boop, and then I make this nice and big, and I click this, and I do this. Whoop, you guys can see that there, and there it is. Perfect. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you all for hanging out. I do greatly appreciate it. Make sure you check out all these other reveals that are happening, and we'll see you all next time. Come on, everybody. Bye.